Lord, over all that has life and breath. You reign on, though kingdoms may fall. Father, you're faithful, your truth is everlasting. You are the Lord over all. You are the Lord through my lost and my broken dreams. You can mend what life tears apart. Healer, Redeemer, your love is never ending. You are the Lord of my heart, and I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord of my heart, and I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord of my heart. You are the Lord through my doubts and uncertainties. You bring truth like sight to the blind. Teacher, Creator, your wisdom is eternal. You are the Lord of my life. You are the Lord through my anger and selfishness. In those times when I lose control, Savior, you hold me in mercy and forgiveness. You are the Lord of my soul, and I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord of my soul. Yes, I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord of my soul. You are the Lord, through the years let me know you more. Grow in grace and follow your call. Present and future, I trust in you forever. You are the Lord over all, and I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord over all. Yes, I will glorify your wonderful name, Jesus, the Lord over all. Hard to believe someone like you care for me. You put this love in my heart. I tried but could not refuse. You gave me no time to choose. You put this love in my heart. all that you've done for me. It's hard to doubt, I just have to believe, 'cause you follow me, proving all of your love. Well, I know the loneliness I had before is gone now. I'm never feeling anymore, because your loving has released me from all that's in my past. And I know that I can believe you when you say you'll never be forsaken. Your love is gonna last. There's so much more I can say if I could just find a way. You put this love in my heart. It's all this real or a dream. I feel so good I can scream. You put this love in my heart. I wanna know where the bad feelings go when I'm depressed and I get down so low, and then I see you coming to me and it's alright. You put this love in my heart. 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 You put this love. You put this love. You put this love in my heart. You put this love. Put this love. You put this love in my heart. You put this love. You put this love. You put this love in my heart. 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 You put this love. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday. Regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man, he's sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He said, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody. I hope you are, and you've got us feeling all right. Now John at the bar, he's a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free. And he's quick with a joke, or he'll light up his smoke. But there's some place that he'd rather be. He said, John, I believe this is killing me. As a smile ran away from his face. Oh, I know I could be a big movie star if I could get out of this place. La la la, la la la. La la la, la la la, la la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right. all, he's a real estate novelist who never had time for a wife. And he's talking to Davy, who's still in the Navy, and probably will be for life. Oh, and the waitress is practicing politics as the businessman slowly gets stoned. Oh, they're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Sing us a song, little piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right. Pretty good crowd for a Sunday.
Oh, yes.
What is that you've got in your head?
It's my crown. My granddaughter gave it to me for my birthday.
It's ridiculous.
Princess Nana. That's what she wanted.
Yes, I was with her when she chose it. I tried to dissuade her. She's 3.
I think it's
How
a
do you
lovely
dissuade
idea.
a 3-year-old from choosing the cake that she wants?
Well, you told her she could choose it.
Well, yeah, but I was joking. When she chose that one, I thought, yeah, maybe not. But she was going, when we got there, she was singing all the way along, all the way around, and people were going, oh, she's so lovely. Oh, she's so, look at that. Look. What are you doing? You don't look the same. So I said, well, that's racist, if you don't mind me saying. Anyway, and Lily turned around and said, don't be a racist and a bigot.
Oh.
Those were her very words. I swear she did. Anyway, she was pushing away, and I got to the cake stall called Cake Pit.
Cake stall?
Well,
cake pit?
Oh, Cake Pit.
Cake shelf.
The shelf with them all on. And I don't go to Sainsbury's very often, as you know.
I know.
I have an aversion to all shops.
You don't like shops.
I hate them. And I got there, and Lily has said to me, she said, are we going yet? Or from the beginning, it was, are we going? Are we leaving? Can we go home? So I said, well, we're nearly there. And she got to the cake bit, and that was it. She said, oh, Grandad. And she's only 3 and a bit. And so I said, now you've got to choose a cake. And she wanted the unicorn one because that was the one that she wanted. Yeah. For her 4th birthday. She said,
got it all lined
when
up.
I'm 4, can you get me this
in January.
cake? So I said, yeah, okay. And then we had to go, standing in the store, we had to go through the whole of the family in order of whose birthday was next. We're standing by the cakes at this stage. So I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember when my children were born. So off we went. We got the cake, and she threw it in, and she said, can we go now? So I said, no, we've got to buy some flowers. And she said, and so I said, we went some flowers. She got out of the trolley, and she went across to the first bunch of flowers that she could see. She grabbed me, she said, can we go now? So that's why you got...
a lovely bunch of flowers.
And a tiara. Which does look... You do look...
Quite
you do
regal.
Look quite regal.
Quite
Quite royal. Yeah,
I'll take it off in a minute.
You could. You do have that look of princess about you, with your long hair and everything else. Anyway, you had a good week?
I've had a lovely week.
Because I've not seen you much. You've just been wearing anything that stands still too long.
No, it wasn't that bad. I had two funerals at the beginning of the week. I had a birthday at the end of the week. That was lovely.
Yeah. I know it's been a busy week, isn't it?
It's been a very busy week. And then a show yesterday.
A show yesterday. Lovely people of Newbury.
Lovely.
What a great... We did the Corn Exchange there, whatever it was.
A number of years ago.
And it was a lovely theatre. And in fact, we were just... our guest tonight had a play on there, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of plays were put on there. And but it was lovely being in Newbury again. And I was thinking, actually, I'm
nice
definitely...
place.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Hello,
place.
Karen and Richard who
and
put it on, and Dave.
Anyone else is joining us, having been there last night.
It was
Thank
a great, extraordinarily hot in that room.
It was.
I had to take my clothes off, didn't I? All of them.
Actually, you didn't.
No, that's not what they paid for.
That would have cleared the room.
Anyway, we just want you to have a nice evening tonight. It's very relaxed. It's a summer's evening.
We do.
And I just want you to show...
Just sit there with your ice creams and your drinks.
Hold on.
Oh.
Just want to show you my swimming shorts. There they are. Can you see them?
No. Can only see your tummy. Right, okay, now we can see them. That's it.
The legs, look at them. Okay?
Okay, fine.
So I feel like I'm ready to go swimming. And I'm ready for summer now.
Good.
But it's so hot in this house today. It was just, unbearable.
That's not
Anyway,
very-
we hope
no,
you're
it's
having,
not
wherever
very-
you are in the country or in the world, we hope you're having a great day, not too hot, and the wind is starting to cool down out there now, isn't it? And so you can just relax, listen to a few songs. And I just come, when I went to Newbury yesterday, I'd just come from doing my gig at
Glastonbury.
and it was lovely. It was lovely, and it was a nice crowd, to be honest. But I thought I'd do a few kind of songs that reflect the bands that I saw there. And to be honest, they're all old people. Have you seen them? They're Guns N' Roses, and it's all that kind of lot.
Home, weren't you? You were very
I felt,
at home.
yeah, I didn't feel so old after all. There's Guns N' Roses. Who else were there that we saw the other day? I mean, older guys. These aren't
Well, there was,
young bands.
Foo Fighters. Wasn't
Foo
there?
Fighters. I mean, I remember them. They're all
Fat Boy Slim was
Fat Boy Slim. He's just Slim Boy Fat now, isn't he? I think. You know, these things go on. But people had asked, and Dan Bellamy has asked for a song tonight, and he said he has to pull out of by 9 o'clock because Elton is doing his thing. And there were various of you that have said various things about him. So
various kind things.
Various kind things about Elton and various kind things about
him.
JV. And whether or not you can record. Of course you can record it. Let me take this off. But I thought a couple of songs. This one. That I used to sing a lot back in the day.
Are you going to do the end of Piano Man?
Well, oh yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that. It's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday. I'm sorry.
No, don't. It's fine.
And the manager, he gives me a smile. Cause she knows it is me they've been coming to see, to forget about life for a while. Oh, and the piano, it sounds like a carnival, and the microphone, it smells like a beer, and we sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here? La 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 la. La 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 la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Piano once again dies away. We welcome you to another JV live from the Steinway room with JV Sue and our special guest Richard Everett, part 2. Yeah, exactly. Don't I? I'm fluent. Literally, I'm fluent. And we have some great.
Can I just say, poor Heather is now confused. She wants to know why Karen hasn't played you from Glastonbury, live from Glastonbury.
Okay.
So sorry, Karen.
Heather.
Him telling his
joking.
porcupines doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't.
help.
But this song, I thought actually was when people say about Elton and Billy, these are my great influences. They were the Crusaders. The music of the 70s and 80s was piano music particularly. I liked intelligent songwriters, and Bernie Taupin and Elton John was for me, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, one of the most seminal albums of the 70s, 80s. There were things like Benny and the Jets. I still don't know what the first line is. She found yourself around and cares yourself some business. The only bit I really knew was Benny and the Jets. That's it. His lyrics were inscrutable. I never understood them. But then when you get, you're good. Someone saved my life tonight, sugar babe. Almost had your hooks in me, didn't you, dear? A lot of them were, you didn't know what they were about. I mean, things like, she packed my bags last night, 3 flights, 0 hour, 9 a.m. I can't sing this now, it's so high. And I'm gonna be high, oh high, as a kite by then. The earth so much, I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space. I'm such a timeless flight. Oh. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. The touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning out a fuse out here alone. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. There's no one there to raise them. If you did, and all the science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week. I'm a rocket is rocket man, that's kind of stratospheric. Rocket, I bet you he doesn't sing it in this key anymore. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning out a fuse out here alone. I bet he's not singing that tonight in B flat major. Most of these guys, now they've got older, they put it down what's called just a minor third, which means that's where we put it down.
You do that all the time.
Oh, all the time, yeah. Well, you can't. When you get older, you can't. The chords don't go that high. The song I used to love, which I thought it was always I think his best song. And I used to sing it back in the day. Remember this one? You came to the restaurant and pub I used to play in there.
Oh yes, you used to sing this one every time.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money. Boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, a man who makes potions in a traveling show. Oh, I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. You can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. Well, I sat on a roof and I kicked off the moss. Well, a few of the verses, well, they got me quite cross, but the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do, well, you see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world.
Oh, they enjoyed that.
Well,
They
it's
said
something
one of the
people sing along
best, one of the best Elton John songs sung by.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go into a backing.
Hang on, before you do, can
that
I
was
just?
that was for, I think that was for.
That was for.
I think that was for Joanne.
Oh right, Joanne Newson. If you're watching, that song was for you. You wanted something uplifting. It was uplifting. You're having a bit of a tough time at the moment, so we think of you and we dedicate that one to you.
And those lyrics are very, well, they're very clever. They're clever. They're just. It's a lovely, unusual love song, and it was an unusual sound too. You see, when he did it, it was guitar, piano, and a very subdued drum. So it was a love song, but with a backbeat to it. And at that time, people weren't writing those songs. So the reason, when I talk about Elton John and Billy Joel, for me, they were the singer-songwriters par excellence of their time. And they had something to say to me as a boy. Although they meant something, whereas a lot of the stuff that was going around was just pop, and endless, meaningless pop. Didn't say anything to me. Anyway, what were you about to say?
I was about to say, I think you've just knocked your keys cam a little bit.
Oh,
so
I
we're
haven't.
saying, can you just twist it round so that we can see probably a bit more of your tummy? Oh, we can see your knees now.
No, I don't want my knees.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right, because we saw a little bit too much of the side bit there.
Okay,
So thank you.
Okay, it's all right. I did.
That's better.
It clearly was out.
Okay.
So, anybody been writing in?
Yes, lots of people are saying how much they're enjoying you singing Elton John songs. Great songs. They're
really?
enjoying them very much.
I don't know. I was going to do another one just because it's Glastonbury, and it's meant to be his last performance. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Can I dedicate this one to Sharon? It's your birthday today, Sharon. So happy birthday! And of course, we couldn't do this song by Elton John without dedicating it to you because of your son, called Daniel.
Okay, here we go.
Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. And a while I can see Daniel waving goodbye. God, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in mine. They say Spain is pretty, though I've never been. Well, Daniel says it's the best place he's ever seen. Oh, he should know he's been there enough. God, I miss Daniel. Oh, I miss him so much. Oh, Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died. You see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky. Daniel, my brother. Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died, but you see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky. Oh, Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. Oh, I can see Daniel waving goodbye. God, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. Oh, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. Oh, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. With a little bit of a creativity bit in the middle,
That's okay.
where I realised I should have put my glasses on.
Could work out what was
Age
going
shall
on.
not weary them, and the years
Well, the years have been kind.
a little moment from some of you. Does anybody know where that moment came? You
Come
ready?
on then.
Okay, and this is it. He looks up, he sees a woman on the balcony, and he says, maid, the years have been kind.
Anyone get that film?
Is that
Let us know.
Let you know, and we'll give you an enormous prize. We're not going to do that. I'm lying. I'm not going to give you anything. Just try and get
Apart
it.
from the accolade.
I'll tell you what you're going to do. Is I want to sing. I've never sung from an album called Pilgrim that I did way back when, and here it goes. Well, I think we've done this one actually, but never mind. We'll do this one first. By a man called Bob Dylan, who's also played Glastonbury a number of times. Are you ready? Goes like this. You may be ambassador in England or France. You might like to gamble or you might like to dance. You may be the heavyweight champion of the world. Or you may be a socialite with a long string of pearls. But you're gonna have to serve somebody. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, well, it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. You might be a rock and roll addict prancing on the stage. You might have drugs at your command, even women in a cage. You may be a businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor, or they may call you chief, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. You may be a state trooper, you might be a young Turk. You may be the head of some TV network. You may be rich or poor, you may be blind or lame. You may be living in another country under another name, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Come on, Ben Carson. Well, you might like to wear cotton, you might like to wear silk, you might like to drink whiskey, or you might like to drink milk. You might like to eat caviar, you might like to eat bread. You may be sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a king-size bed, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you will, you're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Last time. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you will. And that was the voice of Tracy.
Tracy, up in Birmingham.
Birmingham. Great, one of the great voices.
It's a great track.
Black voices.
Christine Andrews says she always puts some Pilgrim on when she's wanting to get a bit of oomph into her cleaning in that house.
Well, it is a bit.
Helen Thomas has hers in the car at the moment.
It drives you, drives you forward, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, do you know what? I just want to talk about just a brief little excursion into the world of DIY that I've become so. Sorry, why are you laughing?
So familiar
Sorry,
with.
can we just
I'm
stop?
sorry,
And
I'm sorry.
Straight away, I'd just like to say that it's not fair to laugh at my ventures because I've noticed that I think I'm getting the knack. I think I'm getting the knack for this. And I think it started, we'll go through this pictorially because I think it's only fair. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, Rachel, just bring up the first one.
Okay, right. So here we have two up here. We
have
the first one, which is the gnome.
The gnome. Well, the gnome, you see, which was given me by my very sick students.
It does look very like you, actually.
Because right, they gave it to me from university because they thought it looked like me. And this year they gave one that looked like Sue as well. That's also on the ground. You can't say that. But it fell off the fountain in that now infamous video that has had so many likes, 2,500 likes already, and so or views. And so that fell off, and he broke his foot completely. It needed, I think, the expert touch of a DIYer. So I went down the road and I got some super glue from B&Q. Well, don't. Why are you laughing? I've got the guests in here.
It can only end well. It can only end well,
Right?
can't it, really?
But what happened, what I didn't realise is that he got an ingrown toenail as well. I lost the chip. If you look at that bit.
He's got a little white toe.
Little white toe. It's
Or no
infected.
toe, actually.
He's got no toe. He's
No
gone.
toe.
He's got diabetes. Look at him, size of him. He's like me. Same thing.
So that's
the
the
first
gnome.
one.
So,
that's the
so,
gnome.
So,
So
what
I think
about
that was... Hold
the
on.
hedge trimmer. The
Well,
hedge trimmer is
just
next
be
to
quiet.
it.
I'm still talking about the gnome.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a success, and I celebrated that. We went out for a meal, didn't we, just to
That was a
celebrate
win.
that.
That was a win.
That was a win. And then I was trimming the hedge the other day, and gadoom, a big pop yet again, a flash of light, and I cut it for the third time. In fact, I think that's the fourth time. I'd cut it off again in its prime. Well, fortunately, it was just after I'd finished
Trimming the hedge.
I then got a whole lot, when I posted this picture, I got advice from people on how to cut a hedge. Now, can I just say?
You don't need the advice on
I
cutting
don't need
the hedge.
the advice on how to cut a wire. I know how to do that all on my own. It's okay. It's fine. So I went and I worked out, and I could hear the voice of my old surrogate grandfather, Uncle Ted, and he was always hoping, bless his cotton socks, that I would become a tool man and one who could operate tools and electronic. I mean, not electronics, but
No.
anything. But he was hoping that I'd become a woodman, you know. And he was, because he had saws and everything, and he had electric saws.
He lived in hope,
But
didn't
he lived in
bless
hope.
him?
And anyway, this was the second thing. I heard his voice, and I undid the thing, and I saw the live and the blue and the red, and I remembered him saying, JV, Jonathan, as he called me, Johnny.
No, never
Johnny
JV.
he called me. Johnny, you can do this. So there it was. It took me 5 minutes, and I changed it, and I felt like I'd climbed the Eiger. It's given me new things. So
Well,
then the third
can I
image-
just say I was praying that it would be fine.
But we plugged it in, didn't we?
Yes.
Plugged it in, and it worked.
Please, Lord, let this work. Yeah, it worked.
And then the third image,
third
which
image.
is when we came home
Oh,
from the
no, this
funeral.
was sad.
I'd sung at the funeral of this chap in Whitney, my dear friend Richard, and the minister there, and it was such a moving time. And we walked in the door, and our friend Andrew Stewart Darling had put a light bulb balancing off the inside of the canopy, and during the winds, it came down, hit the critical point of our, now we find out, £300 to replace the glass of our table. And we found it in a 2,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. I've
And
managed.
which we've now
I've
fixed.
them now
Yeah,
fixed.
we've stuck them all
I've
together.
stuck them all together
Yeah.
with super glue.
Yeah.
I mean, they
That's
were
great.
in 2,000 pieces, but it looks fine. I don't think anybody's going to notice. We had to get another one, and but we did.
Yes, we did.
We did.
We went and got
got
some
two bits of
two
by
four by two.
something, whatever they called it,
Four-
2x4s,
four by
4x2s, or whatever you people out there who know about these things say. And we went along, and the guy, Carlos, his name was, or Costa.
Costa.
Oh, it was coffee. That's right, that's
Costa.
what it was.
His name was Costa.
He looked at us, he did look at us with sympathy, didn't he? And he looked at me and he went, oh, you poor man, you don't know what you're talking about, do you?
He was slightly confused, I think,
was.
because you were chatting away to him and he was sort of looking at you as if to say, I don't quite know why you're here and what you're asking.
No, what you're
for.
asking. And it was a good
Well,
point, because I
I'm used to
didn't
people
know.
having that look on their face when they see Jonathan.
But there we are, and I'm just telling you now that it's been an epiphany really for me, and a beginning of a new and constructive career in DIY, because I was thinking I've been looking for visions of what I should be doing next, and I think this is it. So if any of you out there require any DIY done, any buildings, I'm just constructing the conservatory now, aren't I? It's going to awfully well. The two words I fear most: flat pack.
And?
Oh, and
Just flat and pack, sorry. Those 2 words.
they're hyphenated.
Yes.
They must be. It's going to all very well. Anyway, I just want to play a little video. Actually, I'm going to play a little video, and I would like to do.
Which one?
Oh for 1,000. Shall we do that?
Yes,
little?
let's go for that
Let's
one.
go for that one.
Lovely.
For 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer the glories of my God and King, the triumphs of His grace, my gracious Master and my God, assist me to proclaim, to spread through all the earth abroad the honors of thy name. And with our voice we sing our songs of praise, with our hearts we'll worship you for all our days. Jesus, the name that charms our fears and bids our sorrows cease. 'Tis music in the sinner's ears, life and health and peace. He breaks the power of cancelled sin. He sets the prisoner free. His blood can make the foulest clean. His blood availed for me. And with our voice we sing our songs of praise. With our hearts we'll worship you for all our days. He speaks and listening to His voice, new life the dead receive. The mournful broken hearts rejoice. The humble poor believe. The humble poor believe. And with our voice we sing our songs of praise. With our voice we sing our songs of praise. With our voice we sing our songs of praise. With our hearts we worship you for all our days.
Great stuff. That's from Hymns Project 1 that I remembered doing a long time ago. And I'm trying to find the one. Well, you put in here for me, and I think it is the Wings of the Morning. And it so happens that our guest actually knew Dave Cook and Judy Mackenzie. Judy Mackenzie. And I got to know her latterly up in when she was in Manchester. Anyway, 24 years ago, I recorded this, and I played it the other day, and it was based on Psalm, 139?
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I go to the depths, you find me there. And I hope this is an encouragement to many of you today. Feeling out of it. I might just say that Serve Somebody was for Dan Bellamy, who's soon off to go and watch Elton John. He's got his priorities exactly in the right place.
I can ride on the wings of the morning. I can fly to the ends of the sea. I can hide in the sands of forever, but you will keep following me. I can laugh from my ivory tower, making plans for how great I shall be. I can sleep in my dreams of the future, even there you'll be following me. I can't run away, I can't hide away, I can't find a way from you. You have the words of life. See me and know my heart. Help me to stay and live closer to you. Closer to you. I could fall to the land of the dying, but your love would be bound to pursue. I could hide until darkness surrounds me, but the night could not hide me from you. I can't run away, I can't hide away, I can't find a way from you. You have the words of life. See me and know my heart. Help me to stay and live closer to you. Closer to you. Dave Cook.
Lovely. I
And
do
Kenji
love
Dunn.
that song. There's a lot of people enjoyed that. Psalm
Now,
139 is
Psalm
their favourite.
139. I'm going to do one more, which is
Go for it.
Kingdom Come. We'll have the backing track. Let's try this one, shall we? One I have not done ever before on this show.
Or
In fact, I've never
ever sung
ever,
it apart
no.
from on the album.
Let's see if I can remember it. Phil playing the drums there. Way back. It's a song, and I chose it because it's by Coldplay, who were also big Glastonbury players back in the day.
Steal my heart and hold my tongue. I feel my time has come. Let me in, unlock the door. I've never felt this way before. And the wheels just keep on turning. The drummer begins to drum. I don't know which way I'm going. I don't know which way I've come. Hold my hands inside your hands. I need someone who understands. I need someone who hears for you. For you I've waited all these years. For you I'd wait till kingdom come, until my day is done, and sail come and set me free. Just say you'll wait for me. Bryn Howarth on mandolin. In your tears and in your blood, in your fire and in your flood, I hear you laugh, I hear you sing. I wouldn't change a single thing. And the wheels just keep on turning. The drummer begins to drum. I don't know which way I'm going. I don't know what I'll become. For you I'd wait till kingdom come, until my day is done. And say you'll come to set me free. Just say you'll wait for me. Just say you'll wait for me. I always loved that song. It's just that
steady drum.
ostinato thing that's going on. You know, I love that.
Nice,
we're about to welcome into the room a very special guest that you really, really responded to last time. If you hadn't, I wouldn't have asked him back. But he made a deep impact on all of us, and I've known him for how many years is it? I don't even know. But he's coming in once again to inspire us, to move us, to make us laugh. The wonderful man that is Richard Everett, playwright, actor, general nice guy, and we're going to have him just after this video. The pipes, the calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go, and I must die. But come ye dark when summer's in the meadow, and when the valley's hushed and white with snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. will come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say, tread above me, and all my grave will warm, sweet be. For you will and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to
That was a very special moment.
Danny Boy to broadsword to Danny Boy. Ring any bells, Richard? Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Give a round of applause. Mr. Richard Everett, all the way in the room.
I know why you set me up for this. I know why you set me up for this. We were just talking about one of our favourite movies of all time is Where Eagles Dare, which featured Richard Burton, among other actors, and Clint Eastwood. It's a ridiculously nonsense Second World War film, but one of my favourite actors of all time was also in it, who was Sir Michael Hordern. And Sir Michael had a house down in Newbury, and the Watermill at Newbury, which I think we've mentioned before, is the most wonderful theatre. If ever that's in your region, you must go and see it. It's beautiful. They have a fantastically high standard of work. Anyway, they have in the past done a couple of plays of mine, and on the first night, traditionally, Sir Michael, who lived very near the theatre, used to come to see the opening night, and afterwards would have dinner with the cast. And so I found myself sitting next to one of my great heroes of the screen over a sort of kind of Dover sole or whatever it was we were given for. And there was Sir Michael sitting there tucking into his foot. And I thought, I can't resist it. I've got to say it. And I said, Sir Michael, can I just say something to you? And he said, what is it, dear boy? What is it? What is it? So I said, broadsword calling Danny boy. And he looked at me completely blank and said, I'm sorry, old chap, I don't quite know what you... I said, broadsword calling Danny boy. And he said, I'm terribly sorry, I don't know quite what you're talking about. And I said, Where Eagles Dare? You know, the film that you were in? Was I, old boy?
Oh, dear.
I said, yes, you were in it. He said, oh, was I very good in it?
Oh.
So I said, yes, you were terribly good in it. And of course, the lovely thing about it was that it wasn't that he was losing his memory or anything. This was an actor of a huge kind of backlog of movies. He'd probably made 100 films and genuinely couldn't remember. Even though he was one of the leading actors in it. He genuinely couldn't remember.
But for those of us who watched it, of course, it became the broadsword to Danny Boy. It became the...
Yes. Oh, yes.
The little meme we took away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the main takeaway of the film, and there's Richard Burton in the middle of some alpine thing going broadsword calling Danny Boy. In that sort of Welsh accent.
It was, wasn't it?
Milkwood was about to come out any second, you know. Under Milkwood.
It always... Because it always... I tried to copy him, you know, very many impersonators kind of goes... Broadsword to Danny Boy.
Yeah, but what you have to get the screwy nose.
Go on, give it to us.
Broadsword calling Danny Boy. Broadsword calling Danny Boy. you know.
And Clint Eastwood
And Clint-
was just in his shadow, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Permanently, just curling his lip from time to time with a gun. You know.
He was very funny because I thought he must have thought when he got there it was like the teenager turning up.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
to
And
this
it's the most
tower.
bonkers plot.
Oh,
I mean, it's full of the most ridiculous
not
stunts.
impossible.
Totally, and it's so watchable. I mean,
Now you've said this to me. I'm going to go have to watch it
you're
all
gonna
over
find
again.
it again, aren't you?
yeah.
You know, it's one of those-
Anyway, this is boys' talk.
Richard,
really.
welcome back,
Thank you.
and thank you for making the time for us today. Because when you came in the other day, there were so many things we hadn't covered.
Well, that's true. One of them, can I just say?
Go on,
One
was.
of them, very importantly, is that I don't know what people's takeaway is from these lovely Sunday evenings that you do. But there should be a government health warning that Jonathan Veira and DIY are not a good mix. And his offer to go and help anybody in their house, please don't take it seriously. Because all I can see is carnage. So, I'm sorry, where were we?
Now that's not kind. After all the skills I've developed
Actually-
over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
I think
know.
it's safe to say that they are just to be practiced in our own home, shall we say?
Yes.
What, electricity to be practiced in our own home?
Yes.
No
Well,
one else's.
You don't think I should re-electrify the
No.
house?
No, well, it's a variation, and the phrase that goes for this now is, "Don't let Jonathan try this at your home."
Can I ask you? Because I've always
I do love
looked
you,
up.
really.
I've really looked up to you until this moment.
Yes.
And I've always looked. When I remember coming to your place, and you were very good at doing stuff. You seemed to do it with confidence, even if you were acting. I mean, I have no idea, but you could do stuff, couldn't you?
Yes, I know, but it all fell apart when you left. You know, as you drove out, and there was just a crash. And yes, everything. No, it's like no. I was nominally competent, but I mean not compared to. I mean, no.
Could you do electrics,
No.
plumbing? Ish.
I could unblock the toilet.
Yeah, that's not really plumbing, is it? That's
No,
just
it's
sticking
not
your
really
hand down and
plumbing,
pulling
no.
up the.
Shall we raise the tone?
Let's.
Yeah, no.
I can lower any tone.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Right.
Richard, what have you been doing the last few weeks? Have you been relaxing in the sun, or have you been going to the grandchildren and enjoying the time in Bath?
Yeah, my life in the last couple of weeks has been a patchwork of things, really. Well, there was recovering from doing this evening with you. That took several
Yeah, it took
days.
several.
I had to lie down in a dark room afterwards. But apart from that, no, it's been a mixture. I have spent lovely time with my grandchildren. That's always good. I've done a little bit of writing. I was actually preaching in our local church
Wow.
this morning.
Were you?
Yes, I know. I'm waiting for the repercussions now, the letters of heresy.
Have you? Did you say? In the title was something like "Why the 39 Articles of the Church of England Are Total Rubbish"?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Something, uplifting.
Discuss.
Yes, yeah. No, anyway, so it's doing a little bit of
been
that.
good, yeah.
I was also actually just, it was a slightly more somber note, but I was at the memorial service of Paul Burbridge, who's an old friend, ran Riding Lights Theatre Company. And who passed away suddenly, very unexpectedly, but it was an amazing memorial service up in York. Nearly 1,000 people there.
Goodness gracious.
It was wonderful. A great tribute to him and his family, but it was very sudden and unexpected.
That's really hard, isn't it? When that kind of it's so quick.
Yeah.
It feels, well, I was going to say it doesn't feel unjust. You know what I mean? There's something doesn't feel right.
Well,
to go
it was
from-
very interesting. Jeffrey Stevenson, who spoke incredibly well, began by saying, "This is not right."
He
And
said that.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
his
that's
opening
nice.
line, and I thought that was brilliant, actually. This is not right. We shouldn't be here. And it was really good and inspiring. But, so life has been, I've been up in Sheffield and seeing friends as while I was up there in York and here out. And about to, a bit like Sue, really. Sue's had a birthday before me. I've got one in a few days' time. So
We're not asking.
No.
It's
don't-
best not to.
Don't do numbers. It's not fair.
Well, it actually, one of the things you touch many people by your honesty, actually, and that was quite moving for me as well. Actually, to talk about, it's quite one of the things we were talking about, and I just wanted to cover was a lot of people on this stream over these past years have been on the older bracket, and it was something I wanted to talk to you about. We didn't get to touch on, which was about, and in your role as spiritual director, because that some people won't understand what that role is. Could you just explain first of all, and then I'll ask the question. What is it that you do?
Well, very briefly, it actually sounds terribly grand, spiritual director. The one thing you're not is directing anybody about anything really. It goes way back to the Desert Fathers and the Desert Mothers, which at the time of Constantine, when the Christian religion became the accepted faith, it suddenly all became a bit orthodox and fixed and rule-orientated. And the Desert Fathers and Desert Mothers were a group of people who said, wait a minute, I think we're losing the essence of faith here. Mm. This is becoming all about rules and regulations. And they withdrew to the desert. And they set up a community where people would go to them to renew their faith. And so the monastic tradition, as we know it, came out of that. And out of the monastic tradition has also become this a lay ministry, really, of spiritual directors, people whose role it is to accompany people on their spiritual journey, to encourage them. But primarily, when you're working with somebody, you are working on the principle that there are three of you in the room, not two. Right. And so it's a role of discernment and a role of accompaniment. It's not sitting there trying to think up something terribly profound to say, but it's genuinely setting your own agenda to one side and trying to help somebody hear what God might be saying to them.
Yeah, that's quite a lovely detailed answer. I didn't know that about where the roots of it, and Constantine, it makes perfect sense. Does that mean you're not finding yourself counselling people, or is that's not a role that you involve yourself?
One of the things that they teach you in the training is to work out whether somebody has come to you needing counselling, because it's a different need. It doesn't mean that you kind of chuck them out, but it does mean that this is about somebody's spiritual well-being and their spiritual health and their own relationship with God. And it's not necessarily crisis management either. It's much more to do with helping somebody to maintain their health. And of course it raises, one encourages a level of honesty. We're talking about prayer, and a lot of people find prayer difficult. A lot of people find worship in their local church difficult. A lot of people can't stand the local minister. A lot of people find that their relationship with God is very distant. It's all of those classic issues. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be, as I say, a crisis management role. So, and it's also tied in, and I believe this very strongly, and it happens to be, an issue for me. An important issue for me is that one's spiritual health and one's identity are very closely tied up.
No, okay, that's where I'm heading with this. We discussed it before. I don't usually discuss what we're going to discuss before we discuss it, but I felt it's something we missed out last time we came in, but we don't normally, over a cup of sandwich, talk about those kind of things. We don't like to plan it that much. We like to see what comes out in the wash. But it's quite an important one, because you and I were actors or singers within that same profession. That's why some of it we got together because of that, and we kind of saw a similarity in what we did together. And it was about that question, and it's not just about acting and singing, it's about anything that gave you a kind of a public profile, so people who've been in leadership, people who've been in whatever. And when you're not in that role, who are you? Yeah, and it's indeed. That, everybody out there knows I've spoken about it publicly in front of thousands of people, that I went for counselling with that very thing. And the whole thing that she talked about, she said, I think what we're going to be talking about is identity, because who was I if I wasn't Jonathan Veira, the opera singer? Yeah. When I had to retire from that. So talk to us a little, what are your own struggles with that, or what are insights?
Well, I think, I don't think, it is a struggle. I mean, it has been a struggle, but I don't think it's a struggle that anybody who is getting older, and let's face it, no year passes without everybody getting a year older. The question is, when you reach a certain point in your life, especially if you have been in a performance role, But having said that, I actually think what we're about to talk about is universal.
Yes.
But I do think that it's particularly accentuated if you have been in a role where you are upfront, or you've had some kind of profile, or where applause is a very powerful drug. And it becomes and everybody needs applause of a certain kind, and you can become addicted to it. And what's happening, I think, is when that happens, is that what defines you is starting to disappear. The question is, who, as you say, who am I? Now, I speak as a Christian with a certain level of belief, and I believe ultimately my identity is actually, interestingly, it is something hidden only to be revealed at a certain point sometime in the future. But we're all on a journey to finding out who we are. Now, I don't want to get too bogged down with that, but I think as I get older, I have to look back on the things that I've done in my life and say they don't necessarily define me anymore. That is to say, I haven't turned my back on them. It's simply they're part of my past. And the danger, I think, is as you get older, is that you allow the present to be defined by your past, as opposed to saying, those are the things that I've done, and I'm really glad I've done them, but I can't do them anymore. I mean, the thought of sitting down and writing a 2-hour stage play fills me with horror. And I've said to I've said to other people, when people come up to me and tell me that they've just, some incidents happened to them in the high street, and they immediately tell me they've got I've got your new play for you. I immediately go cold, not only because I know they haven't got my new play for me, but also the very thought of sitting down, flogging my way through that. That's something I used to do. Now, it may be that, in some strange set of circumstances, the engine might get fired up and I might write a new play. But I have a body of work which is out there, and I'm okay with that. But it's taken me a while to get to that point because I realized that it's part of my past. It doesn't define my present. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it really does. We were discussing this the whole thing. I was saying to you that we were listening to an opera called Falstaff, which was a one that defined my career. I suppose it was career defining.
Yeah.
It changed everything once I'd done it, and then people started taking me, I suppose, more seriously.
Yeah.
And after that, and I'd done it so many times in so many different theatres, and we were listening to it. I put it on in the car, because I was thinking about teaching my students something from it for next year opera evening. And so I was going through it, and I said, and we always get to the same point, and we both cry at the same point. Now, Sue, you cry. Are you on screen?
I think Rachel can put me on screen, yes.
Can you get Sue on screen for this? It's just an interesting thing. Just like I'm interested in your take on it as well. Can we do it? No, it's not happening. Okay.
Okay. Well, you can still hear me.
Well, you can see it here. Well, but when I listen to it, when it comes to the final moment, and it hits down on it, and it's a very emotional. Verdi writes it, and he says, "I am the reason." It says Falstaff, "I am the reason that you all laugh, and that I am your defining point of laughter." And the brass. Humdinger of a finisher, all right? And I always always manage to do it, step forward and raise my glass to the audience. And it was at that point the memory goes way back to that. And I, like you, the very thought of performing it again, cold sweats, can't do it. Medically, I can't do it. I don't have the energy.
All sorts of reasons.
All sorts of reasons. But it takes me right back to that moment when I was... Well, what is that? That woman once said, she said, didn't you used to be Jonathan Veira? She came up and shook my hand, she didn't you used to be Jonathan Veira? And that has stuck in my head. And now I think I'm shifting it. You're beginning to change, aren't you? But it was, if you were spiritually directing me at that moment, because it's not just me, there are many people who they were CEOs of companies, they ran big charities, they were known.
Yeah.
And then they come down, and it's like House of Commons to the House of Lords to a backbenching in the House of Lords, and you never see or hear from them. And we were also talking about this thing that often, or incorporate this in your answer, if you get the people who try to look the same as they did when we knew them, back in the day. The hair has to be, David Essex had to be,
well, they're all,
Boy George.
They're all,
Yes.
safety pins, at the back, and the hair kind of is dyed, and no, I mean it's terribly understandable. I mean, let me say straight away. I mean, I think if your life is defined, especially in the performance area, but any high-profile position, whether you're a top executive of a company or whatever, if your life is defined by that, this is about value. This is about what is my value.
Yes.
And actually, I have to say, Henry Nouwen, who was a wonderful man, he was a Dutch pastor. There's a wonderful sermon by Henry Nouwen, you get it on YouTube, called Being the Beloved. And it's one of the best expositions I've ever heard on this.
Say it again.
It's called Being the Beloved.
Being the Beloved.
And it's Henry Nouwen, so Henri, so Henri, and Nouwen, Nouwen. And it was a very famous sermon he gave he's not alive anymore, 20 years ago, but it's brilliant on this whole question of how do we define ourselves, and how he's very honest, and he says, in the end, there is only one person who can define who you are. And it's very, very powerful. I mean, just on that, I don't know if we've got time, just very quickly, I was working with L'Arche.
Yes,
and,
yes.
great.
Now, tell me what that is, because a lot of people don't know
the
what
L'Arche community is was set up about I can't remember, about 50 years ago, but there were about 150 communities all over the world which give independent living to adults with learning disabilities, and Henry Nouwen was actually the international pastor of the L'Arche communities, and I did for about 5 years, I did every Thursday, I used to do a drama workshop with them. And it was the most wonderful experience, humbling experience. When I first started working there, the guy who was running the community said to me, look, just go in there and just be yourself. And I said, well, hold on a minute. If I'm going to do a workshop with these guys, I ought to know a little bit about their background. He said, what do you want to know? And I said, well, George, for example... George was about 35. I said, what does George suffer from? And he paused and he said, is George suffering? And I said, well, okay, sorry, wrong word. What is George's condition? And he said, George's condition is he's George. So I said, okay. He said, what is it you want to know? And I said, well, I'm not quite sure. And he said, look, I can go to a file over there and I'll pull out a file and it'll tell me that he's a high-functioning autistic on the spectrum, blah, 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 blah. He said, how will that help you? And I said, he said, we don't do labels here. And
wow.
And it was a very, very, and it was a, because I went in thinking, well, of course, this is terribly noble of me to be doing this. and I'm sure, I do hope everybody appreciates it very soon. And actually, of course, I came out utterly exhausted and asking myself, really, who's the one with special needs here?
Yeah.
Because the life lesson that I was learning was that these are individuals who are to be accepted and treated exactly as you would treat any other individual. And then probably... with less disability than an awful lot of people I know who are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a year.
Yes.
So, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you because, for me, this just underlined this whole question of identity. Who are we? We are who we are, and if we try and define ourselves by something that we've done, we get into difficulty.
Yeah. This is really
Important
helpful.
stuff.
Big stuff, actually. Are you getting anybody coming through?
And people have sort of really identified with it. Helen Coleman's just said we all have a double life, work and home. Those of us who are parents are often defined by parenthood.
Yes.
And then possibly also by our employment. And I can identify with that because, when I used to work as a trainer, I would go in and I would be the trainer for the day, but actually at home I'd be rolling around the floor with the kids. Yeah. And was I any less a person rolling around the floor or standing up teaching a group of high-level civil servants?
But it's often what people would make you feel, wasn't it? Do you remember? I remember the occasion we were doing the first night at Glyndebourne, and the head of British Gas came, and I was doing Don Giovanni or whatever it was. And first night was saying, hello, how are you? So what do? You do this for a living, do you? That was the first thing. And then they asked you what you did, Sue. And you said...
Well, yes. And
you
normally,
hated this.
Well, yes. I have to say, I didn't find these after-show parties very, very comfortable for me, really. And because as soon as they knew I wasn't a musician, then that was it. I was sliding down the scale of social acceptability. And this guy did stay with it for a bit longer. He said, are you a musician? And I said, no, I'm not actually. He said, oh, what do you do? And I said, well, actually, I've got a very important job. I said, I'm ensuring the future of society. And he said, really? How do you do that? So I said, well, I'm working with boys, young men in particular, and instilling in them values and enabling them to be... And I whistled on like this for a while. He said, oh, my Lord. He said, that sounds amazing. Where do you do that? I said, in the home. I'm a mother with 3 sons.
Good for you.
It's sensational.
He gave me a look and went off, but I thought... That is actually how I feel. Yes. Yeah. And if I get this right with these 3 young men, then they will not be a danger to society. They will.
Sadly, you didn't. But
I failed miserably.
You failed miserably. But we
what's
move on
behind that? What's interesting is that behind that is a form of evaluation which is completely wrong. In other words, what is important in life? It's like people asking a performer. Like people ask me, "What do you do during the day?"
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can't.
Possibly.
You can't, I mean, you if you're an actor on a stage, that's only 3 hours. What do you do the rest of the time?
Yes.
This question of how you evaluate things is really important.
I want to just do something else a little bit different now. And what we're going to do? Can we have over 1,000? I think we've
had that one.
No.
Do you want?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. The one that we thought of.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
The All That Matters.
That's the one. Let's do that one. Okay. And we'll be back to you in 2 minutes.
Here's life in all its mystery, beauty and the tragedy, the silence and the symphony, and everything between. And deep inside the heart of man, need to know and understand, we are part of some great plan, just a passing dream. Philosophers philosophize, rarely look you in the eyes. Politics is compromise, rides the ebb and flow. And money talks and fashion screams to fill the space inside your dreams. If you want something to believe, I'll tell you what I know. My maker is my savior, my creator is also my friend, and to find him and his favor is all that matters. matters in the end. Spirit of the age decrees. We may not speak in certainties, but that's what Jesus is to me, the bedrock of my soul, the Savior who can really save, a power stronger than the grave, the greatest gift I'll ever have, the deepest joy I know. My Savior, my Creator, is also my friend, and to find Him and His favor is all that matters in the end. Oh, my Maker is my Savior, my Creator is also my friend, and to find Him and His favor is all that matters in the end. Oh, my Maker is my Savior, my Creator is also my friend, and to find Him and His favor is all that matters, is all that matters, is all that matters in the end. Thank you.
Okay, so Jonathan's asked me to do a sketch. I wrote this book called Soundbites, which is a collection of kind of very short, mini kind of 3 or 4 minute sketches. Really, they are. The idea is that you can actually do them by reading, rather. You don't necessarily have to perform them. But this is a little piece that I wrote, which all you have to do, all I'm asking you to do, is to just picture for a moment an irate mother with a completely adolescent son who I don't know how many of you have families, but you've all been in that situation where your son has not told you where they have been or made any contact. So I'm just going to leave that with you and off we'll go. I'm going to do this with Sue.
Where on earth have you been? I asked you a question.
Here.
What do you mean, here? We've been looking everywhere for you. Why didn't you tell us?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? And look at me when I'm talking to you, please.
I don't know. I thought you would have guessed.
Guessed what?
Where I was.
I don't want to spend my life guessing where you are. I want you to tell me. I prefer to know rather than guess. And hope and pray that you're not lying dead in a ditch somewhere. Or does that sound unreasonable in some way?
No, please don't shout.
I'm not shouting! What have you been doing anyway?
Chatting.
What, for 3 days? Chatting to who?
Friends.
What friends?
Oh, people I met.
What people? Who are these people? Do you know them?
Oh, I do now.
Don't get clever with me, young man. Don't start getting clever with me.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's true. I met a lot of interesting people. We got talking, and I guess, well, I just didn't notice the time. I'm sorry.
Ha! Evidently.
Yeah, I know. I said I'm sorry.
We've been worried sick. What were you thinking of?
I said, I'm sorry.
I know you did. I heard you the first time. Whether or not I believe you is another matter. Where did you stay?
What do you mean?
Look, is it me or is it you? Because I keep asking you a simple question and all you do is ask me another.
Sorry.
It's becoming a habit. You could make yourself very unpopular doing that. Now let's try again. Where did you stay? You can't have been chatting for 3 days without sleep.
Well, we kind of were, actually.
Well, what about?
Stuff.
What do you mean, stuff?
You know, stuff.
No, I don't know. Tell me, because I'd really like to know.
Interesting stuff.
Interesting stuff, I see. And while you were discussing interesting stuff, together with the meaning of life and generally setting the world to rights, did it not occur to you? Did it not cross your mind for 1 second to let us know where you were or what you were doing?
Well, it did,
But what?
I forgot.
You forgot. Of course. Meanwhile, your father and I had to contact our friends, rearrange our plans, endure several sleepless nights, and eventually, in desperation, come all the way back here to find you, just so that you could have a nice, lengthy chat with your nice new friends discussing stuff.
Yeah, but they weren't just friends. They were teachers, some of them. Really interesting. I wish you could meet them. One of them had travelled all the way from...
I don't care. I'm not interested. And the last thing I want to do is meet them, thank you very much. What shocks me most is that you could treat your father and me so badly.
I didn't mean to.
But the point is, Jesus, you did. And don't give me that look either. 3 days. 3 whole days you went missing. Do you have any idea what that was like for us?
No, Mother.
3 of the worst, longest days of my life. That's what. Don't ever, ever do that to me again. Do you understand?
Yes, Mother.
If you go missing for 3 days again, you tell us where you are going and when you are coming back. Is that understood?
Yes, Mother.
Do I have your word?
You have my word.
Good. Enough said. Stage 1 over.
What do you mean?
Well, you've survived my wrath. Now you have your father to answer to. And God alone knows what he'll have to say.
The reason that I love that little episode is that we have about one description in the Gospels of Jesus' life, adolescent life, and he appears to have behaved utterly irresponsibly. And what I also love about it is that it's in Luke's Gospel, which it's a very, very good chance that was Mary's own account. I mean, obviously, I've elaborated on it, but he got that from Mary. And you only have to read the Gospel account in Luke, and she was clearly furious, absolutely furious. And I just love it. For me, it's the humanity, and it's the reality, and it's got an authenticity to it. So I couldn't resist it. But I'm never quite sure, I was saying to Sue, I'm never quite sure whether to tell people who it is speaking beforehand or to let it reveal. And, thoughts on a postcard, please.
The reveal is brilliant.
I think it's good. And we talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
I like the idea of us being drawn into the angry mother.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the light bulb going on and thinking, hang on a minute. Is this possibly?
Yeah.
Very good. Well done.
Thank you.
Introduce the next, which is the...
The next item.
The Priest, the God, and the Empty
Yes.
Tomb. That's a film I made with Nick, your son.
Yay!
It's another one out of sound bites, actually. It's a sketch. Again, I've come across these lovely random sentences and little words in the Gospels. And at the end of Matthew, after the crucifixion, there is this extraordinary little kind of account of a priest encountering the guard from the tomb, and the guard is trying to explain that there's a bit of a problem. And the priest is trying to get hold of what he's saying, and then suddenly it clicks, and it's in Matthew's Gospel. It's about 4 or 5 lines where it says, what you need to do is to, I'm going to give you some money, and you are to tell everybody that the disciples will come and taking the body away, and then it'll all go away and it'll all be forgotten. So, but here's some money, and please just, and it's there, it's right there. It's kind of very odd little kind of passage. And I thought, I'd love to just see if I could expand on that and imagine that conversation. So I wrote The Priest, the Guard, and the Empty Tomb, and Nick helped me film it, and I did it with 2 lovely actors, Justin Butcher and with Andy Harrison. And I think we're going to show it.
We are.
Yes, quickly, what is it?
Your worship, sorry, I'm not sure how to address a chief priest.
You're a Roman guard. You shouldn't be addressing me at all. What do you want?
I've just been on duty at the tomb, sir.
What tomb?
The tomb you asked me to guard, sir.
Oh, that tomb, yes. And?
We have a bit of a situation, I'm afraid, sir.
Oh, they haven't started a vigil.
No, sir.
The last thing we want is them turning it into a shrine. Well, what then? Has someone broken into it?
No, sir, no. We never took our eyes off it.
Oh, good. If some lunatic gets hold of the corpse and have bones popping up all over the place and holy toenails on every street corner.
Yes, indeed, sir.
All right, so no fanatics. No one's gone in or out. What happened?
Certainly no one's gone in, sir. But someone may have come out.
Explain, please.
The tomb's open and he's gone.
Who's gone?
The prisoner, sir.
The prisoner's dead, Sergeant. The prisoner hasn't gone anywhere. You mean the prisoner's body?
Yes, if you like, sir.
No, I do not like. So who's taken it? Grave robbers?
No, impossible, sir. We'd have seen them.
Well, who then?
Don't know, sir.
Look, is it you or is it me? But one of us doesn't seem to be making sense. Now, look at my lips and listen carefully. Do you know what has happened to the body of the dead Galilean?
Yes, sir. I do, sir.
Excellent. What?
It's gone missing.
Right, let's try again, shall we? Simply and in your own words, tell me what happened.
Well, we rolled a stone across the tomb and put the governor's seal on it.
Yes.
I posted 8 men at the entrance and we kept watch throughout the night.
Yes.
Nobody came or went and the whole place remained quiet.
Yes.
Until dawn.
And?
There was an earth tremor, quite severe.
Oh, I know, I felt it here in the city, so what?
Well, the men took cover because there were rocks and debris flying everywhere. And then I saw that the stone had moved and the entrance was open.
Well, the tremor must have shifted it.
Exactly, sir. And I was about to inspect it when the family turned up and created a scene.
What sort of scene?
Well, they tried to get into the tomb.
Did you stop them?
Well, I was going to, but then this joker appeared from nowhere and climbed onto the stone and told them he'd gone.
Who'd gone?
The prisoner.
The prisoner's body?
Yes.
Well, did you arrest him?
What, the prisoner's body?
No, the joker, you idiot.
No, he just disappeared, to be honest. The women were hysterical and they ran off and we were left with an empty tomb.
Wonderful. And this is the army that's conquered half the known world.
So, you see, we have a bit of a situation.
No, I do not have a situation. You do, Sergeant. You better report to whoever and tell them that his followers have stolen the body.
But they didn't.
Yes, they did.
We'd have seen them. And anyway, how do I explain that to my superiors?
I don't know. Tell them you fell asleep.
Fell asleep? What do you think we are, amateurs?
Yes.
Do you know how unprofessional that is?
Well, let's see. This unprofessional?
What's that?
Common people call it money, I believe.
Is this a bribe?
Yes.
You're paying me to lie?
No, I'm paying you to come up with an explanation. Would you mind?
Well, yes. I'm actually rather attached to me head. And sleeping at your post is punishable by death.
You don't have to worry about that. The governor owes me a favour. Trust me, his followers will be hunted down, their lives will be threatened, and at that moment, someone will produce the rotting corpse, all right?
And what if they don't?
They will. All you have to do is own up to nodding off. Can you do that? One small sacrifice for the good of many?
You don't think we should find out what really happened?
My dear ignorant man, the last thing we need is people digging around for the truth. What we need is a plausible explanation so that we can all get on with our lives and you can go home to your delightful wife and your ghastly children. Meanwhile, if there's nothing else, I have a flock in need of a shepherd. Good day to you.
Maybe he did.
Maybe who did what?
He said he would.
Ha! What? Come back to life? I tell you what, Sergeant. If he does start appearing in people's homes, or chatting to people on street corners, or having barbecues on the beach, you be sure to tell me. But in the meantime, let's just keep it real, shall we?
I'd like to see your face if he does.
If he does, it'll be over my dead body, so you won't see my face, because it'll be buried with the rest of me, smiling at eternity.
Again.
Yeah, back again. And that's another really apposite piece of work from, could you hold up the book?
Yeah, from
Soundbites, okay. And some people were making a point, Jerry made a point, and Helen made a point about that there are other books by this, so therefore...
Jerry has just put the link up, because I said it would be better to go to your website, so he's put the link up to it.
To your website directly.
You can buy it via PayPal on my website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do that.
They are very easy to do. They're very readable, and they're just very powerful because they're very witty. And we've used them a lot, haven't we, over the years in Christmas services and that kind of thing. And it's worked really, really well.
Very powerful.
Really
great,
well.
As usual, great writing with good integrity and a line. And it took me by surprise again. When it said Jesus, when I went, oh, that's what it was. I've forgotten that.
You're a bit too caught up with your wife shouting. That was it, wasn't it?
Well, actually, I just had to say, Richard, that to be honest, I recognise that tone an awful lot.
Well, you've had 3 boys.
3 boys,
and yourself.
4, as far as she's concerned. Richard, you were talking about this. You are a Christian writing plays.
Yes.
Okay. What's the difference between a Christian playwright or a Christian play?
Well,
you have this is one of your things, and
well, no, I just get asked it a lot. Do you write Christian plays? And it depends what mood I'm in as to how I answer, because it. Basically, there's no such thing as a Christian play. Let's be really clear about this. There's good plays and bad plays, and the danger. The reason I get kind of quite heated about it is because, first of all, I've never met a play that's leapt off a shelf and run down the road of repentance. Plays don't get converted. People do. People who get converted may write plays, and they might write good ones or they might write bad ones.
Can I just say that I thought of this the other day with you in mind when you said about a Christian hotel.
Oh yes,
right.
Yes.
And I said, "Well, what were you?" Well, he says, "I was a Christian hotel, but I'm now a converted flat." I'm sorry, I found that quite amusing.
That's quite witty.
But this is exactly the point, isn't it?
It's absolutely
it doesn't
the
make
point.
any
It's
sense.
basically, and the reason I feel strongly about it is because it's the use of language, and we have to be really. I think we have to be really careful. First of all, the word Christian only appears 3 times in the New Testament, and never as an adjective. So why is it a problem? Why do I find it a problem? It's because it's the first step towards creating a subculture.
Yes.
Where people are using it as a way of, it's a form of, it's a shorthand credential. You say, oh, it is a Christian book. Well, oh, right. You mean it's got all the right things in it? No, books. But a book is a book, and we have to be really careful. I think that we don't use. There aren't Christian songs. There's just good songs and bad songs. It's people that become Christians, and the reason I think this is important is because if you create a subculture, you get the wrong kind of separatism. There is this talk in the New Testament about being separate, come out from among them, and all of that. We're absolutely right, but that's got to be really thought through. What it doesn't mean is let's all get in a corner and anybody who doesn't speak the right language doesn't get to join. And
You know you're talking our language.
and
that's it.
so using the word Christian in this sense is, it's the gateway to that kind of
Yes.
thinking. And so I resist. So coming back to my own thing, I mean, I just write plays, and obviously these are suitable for a particular context. But the plays that I've written, people say so. Oh, it's a secular play. I say, well, I don't know. I mean, it's a play.
I've written a play.
I've written a play. I mean, was Shakespeare a Christian did he write Christian plays? Is Hamlet a Christian play? I mean, there's no answer to that. It's a great play. That I can tell you for sure. And it has some very powerful themes in it. End of. We start attaching this word Christian to things in the wrong sense. I think it creates a whole kind of corner of separatism. Which
Well,
I'm
it
very
has
nervous
done
about.
that, and it's exactly created this this subculture. But it becomes a way of selling things. Let's be
Yes,
honest. That's
absolutely.
the way it's about. And the Christian record companies do it all the time.
Yes.
They go, oh, we're a Christian record company. We only sell sanctified music. I had a hell of a time trying to get the stuff recorded that I wanted recorded. I had to make sure that it fit with the mission statement and da. And I thought, actually, all the time, I like, as I say, when I was recording lockdown sessions 1, 2, and 3, I record songs. That's it. They are so-called secular and so-called spiritual.
Yeah.
And I just sing songs. Here they are, and if you want them, then you can come and get them. Otherwise, but that's where companies form, and they have to make money, so they attach it, and there are people out there who only see it, and they say, "Well, Richard, is your book Christian? Because we don't have anything that's not Christian in the household." What about Black Beauty? Well, does that? Well, it's got themes of. Well, what do you mean? I mean,
absolutely.
Anyway, before we wrap up tonight, because I think it's been another special evening.
It has. It's been
And
very
your
special.
words and often your syntax have been a very
Tax.
yeah.
Is there a tax on sin?
Very good. Very good.
I think you're and often in good writing, because I studied English at university as well as music, and Shakespeare is one of them. His use of language is credible, as we would say, and it means that clearly the intention. But what you bring actually in a modern way is you bring that fantastic sting in the tail. The Jesus moment, Dare just had it, and I saw you look at me and smile and say, "Do you like that? Did you like what I did there? Did you see what I did there?" And what it does is it grabs people. And I've always seen with your sketches at Christmas events, your writing grabs people and it makes them think. It pushes them on to think slightly on the left or to the right of wherever they've been thinking. Yeah. And that's what you're doing it for. You're trying to stimulate discussion and thought. Yeah. And a process towards a move towards faith.
And my brief always to myself is to explore, not to tell. And the last play that I did, Entertaining Angels, which was down at Chichester, and Penelope Keith was in it. What I loved about that production was that actually the central character is called Grace, and the theme of the play is unforgivable behaviour within a clergy family. And it's a comedy, and I was thrilled to see every night 1,200 people sitting there laughing their heads off. Yeah. But actually, the play was a story about a family. That's all it was. But it was also an exploration of grace. And it wasn't me crowbarring the thing in. That's often the problem with so-called Christian literature of any kind, is that the themes get crowbarred in. As opposed to tell the story. It's a very, very holy expert thing to be doing.
And trust. I always think trust the narrative. Trust the narrative is good narrative. It will be. The Gospels work. You tell the Christmas story. It works. You don't have to explain it in words of 2 syllables. Anyway, can you read for us? Before we have a quiet corner.
Oh, yeah.
For people, and I think Elizabeth Porteous asked me, she wrote, if she's listening tonight, hello Elizabeth, and she asked us to think about those people, the submariners who died. Yeah. And for so many reasons, and for those in peril on the sea. You know, we used to sing that song.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the most moving, da 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 dee da dee dee dee, Eternal Father, strong to save.
Yes.
And she asked us to think about them, and during this reflective time, we'll do that, and you can set this time aside. I'll sing a couple of songs. Rich is going to read a poem, and then after a moment, Sue's going to give us some notices. Rich is going to read another one, and then we're saying goodnight. All right,
Okay.
that's the way it's going to work.
Can I just ask that if we're thinking of submariners, we might also think of the 500, potentially 500
The-
immigrants
that
anonymously sank to the bottom of the sea, most of them children.
Yeah, so
phenomenal.
This is a piece called Noise. Is that what you want me to do? Right.
That's the
and
one.
it's at the back of sound bites. There are also some little meditations. Tell me, why is it whenever I visit there's always such noise in the silence of your house? Noise not from you but from me. There seems to be the deafening sound of my muddled world, the cacophony of my cluttered thoughts, drowning out the welcome and the comfort that I sought. And whenever I fall through your familiar door and I stand in the warmth of your welcoming hall, I find I have brought the street to your home, the relatives, the problems, the unpaid bills, the interview, the plumbing and the supermarket tills. I've brought the noise of every possible distraction to distract me. But thankfully, you quietly tell me, it's fine, not to worry. Leave them there by the door in a heap, like a rain-soaked overcoat. They will dry, they will keep. But the truth of it is the noise is inside, in my head, that takes up the space of your fatherly time. My shopping list of needs, my worries and misdeeds crowd out the silence of your love and your peace. So help me now to simply let go, to silence the voices and lay down the load. Help me to find a corner of quiet where your voice alone is silence and light. Help me, oh, help me to shut out the noise of chaos and mayhem that make up my day. Help me to send every voice from the room, evict and banish them, even my own. Help me to do it so I'm alone with you, in your presence, in your peace, in your home, with you, who knew every word I might say before I had said it or thought or prayed. You who knew me before I drew breath, who knows every thought in my head and wants me to know that you know what I know and knew it when I knew nothing at all.
I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene, and wonder how he could love me, a sinner condemned unclean. Marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. For me it was in the garden. He prayed, not my will, but thine. He had no tears for his own griefs, but sweat drops of blood for mine. Singing, how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. You took my sins and my sorrows, He made them His very own. He bore the burden to Calvary and suffered and died alone. How marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. When with the ransomed in glory, His face I at last shall see, 'twill be my joy through the ages to sing of His love, to sing of His love, to sing of His love for me. Singing, how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how is here. Be still, for the glory of the Lord is shining in this place. He comes with holy fire, with splendor his crown. Awesome is the sight, our radiant King of light. Be still, for the glory of the Lord is shining all around. Be still, for the power of the Lord is moving in this place. He comes to cleanse and heal, to minister His grace. No work too hard for Him. In faith receive from Him. Be still, for the power of the Lord is moving in this place.
Just want to read this last little piece. Just a brief introduction to it is that my granddaughter, 8-year-old, asked me recently, "Grandpa, what is God really like?" And I thought, oh great, let's start with the easy ones. And I said to her, well, you know, the truth of it is that we don't know the whole of him, we only know bits of him. And I said, if I asked you to draw a picture of your home what would you put in it? And she said, oh, I'd put my house and my trees and the squirrels. And I said, and what about your mum and dad? Yeah, she said, I'll put them in as well. I said, what about your brother and sister, Letty and... Well, Letty and Freddie, she said, yeah, but they'd be in the background of the picture, you know. So I said, but if I looked at that picture, it would tell me quite a bit about you, what you liked and what you didn't like and what was important to you. And I said, the whole of creation in the world that we live in is God's painting. And it tells us all sorts of things about him, but it doesn't tell us the whole story. The difference is, though, between your painting and God's painting is that God's painting speaks. And the real question is, are we listening for what he's saying to us? Mm-hmm. And I was standing on top of a hill recently, and I wrote this piece. At the top of the hill, in the warmth of the evening sun, I stood when a mighty buzzard rose above the summer green tree line. It swooped and danced with the wind, gliding, diving and rising again with such regal and effortless elegance that it took my breath away, and yet it was silent, so quiet. Perhaps up close the wind might be heard caressing the feathers of this beautiful bird. In perfect partnership with the air it was, the two becoming one, so safe, so wild, so flawless in its understanding of the unseen breeze, so beautifully and perfectly created, so full of life this being. And then across the horizon flew a rust-coloured so-called EasyJet plane, this clumsy metal tube dangerously and precariously jammed with humans, blundering across the sky at deadly speed, scratching a trail across the limitless blue, leaving deadly fumes and a deadly and unnatural roar, this intruder of the heavens and pride of human achievement at the apex of technological advance, so lethally full of life and pride and itself. The best we can do, apparently, it was comic in comparison. I could almost hear the angels' laughter, lovingly, not unkindly, as a parent might at their child's brave attempt to copy their mother's face in crayon and paint. Even the trees shook their leaves in gentle and kindly applause, smiling benignly, trying not to laugh at our feeble attempt at this laughable version of the many thousands of homebound dancers flying with joy and effortless ease to their God-given nests and their rest and their peace, while the rust-coloured monster vanished in the haze to deposit its cargo someplace in the heat, exhausted and sunburned for a few short days. Of the two inhabitants claiming space in the air, there was no contest, pointless to compare. One was born of a people in need, the other, quite simply, in another league.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. Oh, well, gosh, I don't think I really want to, actually. It's been a very special sort of evening, and particularly special. But I will just quickly go through the few things. I just want to draw your attention particularly to the concert on the 8th of July. If you can get to Church Down in Gloucester, then do so. It's going to be a great evening. We had a marvellous time last night at Newbury. We had a marvellous time last weekend in Southport, and we will plan to do it all again on the 8th of July, so don't forget to join us. I've talked a lot about the weeks at Thornley, so they're on the website as well. Stoke-on-Trent at the end of September, Stoneleigh at the end of October, and then we have one at the end of November, which I haven't got up there yet because we haven't got full details, but we got the 2nd and the 9th, so the 25th of November, 2nd and the 9th will be Christmas versions. If you want to know anything about them, just come to the website, jonathanveira.com. There's a calendar there which tells you everything you need to know. The Steinway room, we are giving you an extra bonus. We are coming back next week. We weren't supposed to be coming back next week, but actually we are. So poor Rachel's absolutely clutching her head here because she'd written it up, but it hasn't saved. So actually we are back next week on the 1st. We're back on the 16th and then the 30th of July and then the 13th of August. So keep an eye open for those dates as well. But we are back next week.
With Steve, with an an interview with Steve.
Yes, Jonathan went down to visit Steve Legg, and they did a great interview, as these two often do. So a lovely, honest interview from Steve next week with our Jonathan. So that's next Sunday evening. We are loving people signing on to YouTube, so thank you for that. Keep going. And what you will get is wonderful videos and musical items and so on coming straight to you that you hear about. So please just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you click on that subscribe button. It won't cost you a thing, but it will mean that you'll get in the know of all the kinds of things that we put up. So, Jonathan's DIY exploits may be up there. You never know. Maybe doing them from his hospital bed, who knows. And so let's move on to where are we going then, Rachel? Yes, dear Rachel has been working so hard at extracting these lovely interviews that Jonathan's been doing with our marvellous guests. And so coming out at 7 o'clock on the 7th of the 7th month, so 7th of July at 7 o'clock, we have got the Live from the Steinway Room guests and interviews starting. So please check that out. And please look out for the videos coming out every Wednesday. Rachel puts them out at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday evening as she finds a lovely little musical item that she sends out to you. So that will be fantastic. And Rachel, where are we going next, darling? Oh, yes, the away day. Can we do the away day? Oh gosh, we're trying to rush here. And so we are going to, yes, we have got the information about the away day on the 25th of November. The 15th of November. Sorry about that, folks. I'm tired. 15th of November. Wednesday, the 15th of November. We are going to St. Catherine's Park, Parmore with Jonathan and I, and those of you who can make it. If you want to stay the night before, the night after, you are very welcome. Go on to this link, and you will be able to sign up with all the things that you want. So just go visit it and make sure that you sign up. That would be marvellous and wonderful. That's website. The 15th of November. Do not forget Richard's lovely website as well. We pinned that on the link as it's gone through. So hopefully those of you who are wanting a copy of his marvellous book, you will find it there. I think we need to call it a day there.
I think we do, and I think I'm just going to sing it. Don't let's play the backing
track.
We're
We'll
going to play it on the piano. It goes like this.
Yeah.
Go peaceful in gentleness through the violence of these days. Give freely, show tenderness in all your ways. Through darkness, in troubled times, let holiness be your aim. Seek wisdom, let faithfulness burn like a flame. God speed you, God lead you, and keep you wrapped around His heart. May you be known by love. Speak truthfully in a world of greed and lies. Show kindness, see everyone through heaven's eyes. God hold you, enfold you, and keep you wrapped around His heart. May you be known by love.
And we're just going to say together, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and give you His peace. The Lord bless you and keep you and turn His face towards you and be gracious unto you. We pray you have a good week this week, and remember, show kindness where you can, do what you can, little unremembered acts of love and of kindness. Remember that, and keep doing it, and God bless you. Have a great time.
Thank you, everyone.
And we say a big thank you. If we can put Richard back on the screen for 2 seconds and just say thank you, Richard, for coming in It's been great having you, and we've really
Yes,
appreciated
there he
it.
is. There he is.
Bless you both.
Thank you.
Pleasure
God
to
bless.
have you, and thank you everyone for joining us rather than going over to Glastonbury. We
So,
so
yeah,
appreciate
Elton-
that.
Elton
We
do
joke
also.
about it, but actually it's a real pleasure to have
It
you
is.
with us in the room. So
Thanks.
thank you everyone.
God
Have a
bless
good
you.
week, and we'll see you next Sunday.
God bless.
Bye.
Good night from JV and Sue and Richard in the Steinway room. Thanks, Rachel.